Have you ever heard of an embodiment where Source has actually come into someone's body?
Yeah, you just had an experience of it. For the most part, or most of those experiences are really the other part of you.
That's amazing.
Right? Your higher self, your larger self, whatever you want to call it, you getting an experience of at that vibrational level. In this level of density, it's a very big deal. Actually, it's very cool that you're having those experiences. You're obviously an old soul, like many people here on Earth right now. There are millions that have come in to help facilitate the shift.
Hey there, welcome back to the Model Cities Zen channel. I'm your host, Ashley Cullen, and I typically post videos optimizing you out of your limited mindset, infusing self-love, confidence, and inner peace into your inner work, your outer work, and help you launch your personal and professional brand. In today's video, I am going to share with you the details of the divine enlightenment that I so beautifully experienced on Tuesday, April 16th, 2024. Earlier that year, in February, I became very aware of this wounded inner child that still existed within me from the bullying that I had back in my school days. I realized that a lot of the blockages that I'd been carrying with me in my current life are stemming from limited beliefs that were locked in years ago that I didn't even think were really still having any kind of an impact on me, honestly. And I realized that I was struggling with the belief that everyone has, that no matter what you do, you're not good enough, and don't draw attention to yourself, and don't give yourself grace. I was so frustrated with this limitation because in my active empowerment work that I do, I know the truth about these things. I'm very passionate about helping people get through them. So how can these two things coexist in the same body and still be limiting? It was in this experience that I realized if I'm going through it, anybody can go through it. It's just about being a human. And it still thrust me into a 3-month-long depression. So on Tuesday, April 16th, 2024, a day I will never forget, I took a natural antidepressant that works way better than pharmaceuticals. It is called psilocybin, and it helps you to accept the things that you cannot change and brings about a strong sense of self-love. In this effort to do some inner exploration, I put on a show on Gaia at the time. It was called, I believe it's called Superpower, How to Unleash Your Intuitive Intellect. And about 7 minutes into it, I had this divine experience based on this clip from Dr. McCready from the HeartMath Institute.
So the study you're talking about was to groups of 20 people in 5 countries, right? They actually are also countries where we happen to have the part of our global work where we have magnetometers that are measuring the Earth's rhythms and frequencies. So the study looked at, well, we measured their little devices that kind of like, I have one here, look like this, that have electrodes that you put on across the chest. They're very lightweight and comfortable. So we were able to measure what's called their heart rate variability. This is the beat-to-beat change in each pair of heartbeats for 24 hours a day, every day for 15 days, right? So a lot of data from over 100 people, as you mentioned, in these groups. Now, one of the surprises came out of the study. We were really looking at how our nervous system responds to the changes in the Earth's frequencies, the magnetic fields of the Earth that we're measuring, and how we're interconnected with that. But in the middle of this 15-day period, we organized a time that all the participants, these 100 and some participants all around the world, did what's called a heart lock-in, which is a kind of a heart-focused meditation for 15 minutes together at the same time. I mean, together time-wise, they're all over the world. And what we were then, because they're all being recorded across this 15-day period, we were able to, at the group level, say, okay, well, how in sync are the members of each of the 5 groups in sync with the rhythms of the Earth? Okay, that was one of our main questions. But so when they did this 15-minute heart-focused meditation, the heart lock-in, we found that, well, they were obviously went into a much higher state of heart coherence. That was expected. We knew that would happen. But we also found that the heart rhythm synchronization amongst this is true of all the groups, of other group members within those groups, they became more in sync with each other, right? So literally more in sync, right? But the surprise came, it was surprising to me that just being in that coherent heart state for 15 minutes increased the synchronization. And this was true for all of the groups for the next 24 hours. So they were more aligned with, more in sync with the rhythms of the earth. For the following, it's a carryover effect. So we get in ourselves really in that state of coherence and being more in sync with ourselves, created more synchronization with others, but also with the earth itself.
As Dr. McCready pointed out, that we are measurably able to connect to the Schumann resonance, which is coming from the sun, which truly is the source of life. Without sun, there are no plants, no food, there are no living things. At this time, I had this realization that the work I do in the daily gratitude movement as a leader among so many beautiful gratitude warriors is truly aligning us all into this vibration that Dr. McCready speaks about, where we are all in alignment with our greater source. And as this happened to me, I had to pause as my mind was connecting so many dots, and my eye started watering on the left side. And as this started watering, I became aware of this growing feeling of love and gratitude and compassion. And I want to pause real quick. Have you seen the movie Ghost? And you know how Patrick Swayze could go into other people's bodies? That's what happened to me. But it wasn't Patrick Swayze. So it started on the left side and it grew to be on both sides. And as it expanded from the left to the right, this inner feeling of love and abundance and compassion continued to grow. I became very aware of few things. It was very clear, it was very distinct, and it was concise. And what I became aware of, there was source within me, and it was a she, and this feeling I had was her energy within me. In this experience, the first message that became very clear was, come here and let me. And the energy of this was full of love and had this laugh to it, like you silly child, full of love and compassion. And the energy was outward. It was pointed, including me, but outward in a very indiscriminate way. It wasn't to certain people or just all people, it was to all beings on the outside. And I felt this energy of, let me help you, let me show you, let me tell you, let me, comfort you. I was shown that everything that we are given in life is given to us from this immense place of gratitude and love and compassion. And as my chest was filled with this energy and my face was just streaming with tears of the most abundant and unconditional love, I couldn't help but inquire about the pain from the depression that I'd been feeling, and showed that energetically. I tapped into that, and I could feel within me source acknowledging that pain that I had been experiencing. And what it felt like in that acknowledgement was an energy of, I would say, 7 times as much sadness and hurt and negative and grief, 7 times that much. And so as I had acknowledged, it was like this was the amount of love and gratitude and compassion that's given to us in all things. And when I showed the pain I had from the depression, this very limiting and darkening energy, then it only brought it down a very little ways towards her energy of sadness. It was just the most abundant love and gratitude. And in that I realized that everything that we're given in life, everything comes from this place of love. And so when you look at everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, from a space of seeking gratitude and growth in it, what are we gaining? That's when you have an understanding of what life is giving you and why. That's when you're able to stay in alignment with your heaven on earth in this place of positivity, unshakable from the negative energy that pulls from it. And you're able to keep pushing forward in life, very strong and resilient. And then I was shown what looks like, if you imagine two drumsticks, just the shape, were wrapped in this brown paper, kind of like a brown paper bag, but more paper like. And there was a ribbon wrapped around it. And the message of this symbol was to show that no matter, just like a gift, no matter what it is that you are given in life, no matter how that looks, that just having this blanket understanding that it is given to you in love and you are capable of overcoming, and you just have to focus on the gratitude of it. So the next thing that I became aware of was she had shown me that we are in a trance, that we focus on surface level things. We focus on our body weight, finances, relationships. We focus outward on surface level things and allow those things to control our energy. But we're truly energetic beings. And when we focus on the energy below the surface and stay in alignment, we have an ability to stay in alignment with our source. From that, when you understand the concept of heaven and hell, it is two very oppositional forces. So when you think of the concept of going to heaven, right, you think of meeting God, and what that is, when you focus on the energy below that surface, the term meeting God, it is coming into alignment with source, right? That is what we are able to do here on earth in a measurable, factual way. And in that resonance, it brings our energy to a place of gratitude, love, unity, and compassion. Isn't that what you expect of heaven? That is living your best life. So the opposition of that, hell, the concept of hell, is anything that pulls you away from that. And the two examples that I was shown were war and politics. Both of those tend to divide people, show a lack of love, a lack of compassion. And so from there, I had this understanding of our ability to truly live our heaven on earth now. It is here and right now. At this time, I was texting my best friend as she was flowing through me. And at that point, the words bridge to source kept coming to me. Bridge to source, bridge to source, bridge to source. And I realized that the work I do with Model Cities Zen is the bridge to source, helping people of all walks come into authentic self-love, confidence, and inner peace in all areas of their life, to fight that opposing energy that pulls you out of that vibration of gratitude, compassion, that aligns us with our source. Now, again, going back to the energy below the surface, don't be in the trance focusing on the word source. If you call it God or the universe, whatever you call it, focus on the energy below the surface to find your unique alignment. In this experience with source, anytime I would activate my brain to think through it or become more active in what I was being shown, she got more like distant. I wasn't receiving as clear of messages. It kind of faded. And so whenever I would relax and hand over the reins, then I was getting this stream of very strong messages. And the next thing that I became very clear of was the phrase meaning of life. And as I started thinking through what I'd been shown and wondering, is does all of this equate to a meaning of life? And before I could even question it, I felt my head being pulled in a direction of light. The only way I can explain it is kind of like a face orgasm, where you're being pulled into this direction of a lighter, lighter, lighter feeling, just from the head up. And at the apex of it, I just began streaming tears, just streaming tears. Not that I was crying, but that I was experiencing this abundance of energy that needed to be released, to bring me back to an equilibrium. And this was in confirmation that what I'd been shown was a meaning of life. At this point, I was shown the word messenger, and I realized that I have been sent, she sent me to tell you this meaning of life. After this experience, my heart vibration stayed at an average between where it was before and how high it was experiencing source within my chest. And this experience truly was of a very divine nature, very clear, very concise, very specific. There was not a voice, there was nothing that I saw. It was simply a knowing of what it was within me. I was being shown. I do have to say that Tuesday, April 16th, 2024 was the last day of my depression and the very beginning of a beautiful, beautiful road ahead of internalizing life through a lens of gratitude and growth, and seeing what our source has given to us for what reason. And I connected with Dr. McCready after this experience to let him know how it went, and you'll have to stay tuned. I will post the video of what he said. So with that, I love you all. Tune in for the next one. It's coming up right here.